Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you step by step in acrylic how you can paint for yourself at home this adorable ballerina, all kind of Christmas themed up. To help me do that on the mic is my husband John.
Hello.
He's going to make sure that as I'm demonstrating or explaining techniques, color mixes, showing tools, that you can really see those clearly with one of our many different angled cameras. So you can always be like right in the action of the brush, right in the action of the technique. And that way you're not missing anything. You know, you're never having to guess, because we try not to make you guys guess. Now, there is a link in the description to the website where the free traceable resource is held. That page also has the materials. So if you're having trouble accessing, materials on YouTube or one of the different places that we post them, it's available to you there. You'll find other videos, like about 1,500 free videos that you could do as well. Many of them ballet. So sets of things, because we generally revisit concepts again and again and again. I'm really excited about this year. If you're brand new to the channel and to the show, I want to welcome you here. Be sure and say hi. It's a very friendly group here. I think we have some of the nicest art community online, and they're really about bringing in new people and making everybody feel welcome. I might even answer your live question on the show, but even if I don't see your question, one of our community members will, or our moderators will, and they'll make sure that you get your answer. We're going to be breaking this down into steps, and we do that for a couple of reasons. One, so that you understand the sequence of events that have to occur in creation of a painting. Two, so that if you need to stop, rest, go on about your life, you can find your spot again really easily. And three, because we write a resource called a mini book, which is basically the written instructions that match the video. So like at each step, it just talks about the brushes, materials, color mixes for that step. It shows a picture of that step. They're generally about 24 to 30 pages in a PDF that you get to download later off of our website in our files thing. You do need to have an account though, I think, to access the files. It's free, and we don't do anything with your data, and we have no advertisers on the website. So for online safety and non-annoyance, we're actually pretty good, I feel like, these days. All right, I'm gonna sip my coffee. Let's make me small, and we'll go over the materials.
Small cinnamon.
Just a tiny YouTuber. Just the tiniest YouTuber.
Aren't you such a cute little YouTuber?
Just a little bitty baby YouTuber. All right, so I have an 8x8 surface here. I like to paint 8x8s with beginners because it allows you guys to hang these up in collections really easily. It means you don't get overwhelmed with 16x20 canvases all over your house. I used to do bigger canvases like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago.
Go back and check Acrylic April intros. Wall of 8x8s look awesome.
They really do. They're gorgeous. And this actually started from Acrylic April, which is a 30-day painting challenge. I just wanted people to be able to hang things in nice arrangements. And what we found is these are easy to get. They're economical. It lets you paint in pads different ways. And so that's why it's 8x8. But you can resize if you want to. That doesn't offend me in any way. The colors on the palette are this. Mars black. The one that looks black next to it isn't black. It's dioxazine purple. And just a purple. Any purple's fine. Phthalo green. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre, cad yellow medium, cad red medium, quinacridone magenta, ultramarine blue, phthalo blue. These kind of look close too, but when you paint it with me for a while, you realize these are wildly different blues. And titanium white. Sometimes things don't look that different in the tube, but you add a little color to them and it's a whole different animal, which kind of makes painting fun. Shall we throw up the first step?
We can. Let's see. I wonder which graphic it is.
Oh, it's the blue pill.
This is the holiday one.
I need to change the chat on my phone to live chat so I can see the stuff as it's coming in. Hi, Amy. How are you doing today? I see Irene and Dee and Diana. All right. So I'm going to just put out some black paint on my canvas. You don't need to do this way at all. It's just easy for me because I want to keep my palette tidy and I don't want to use up that black in this way.
You're just going to squish it all right where it belongs.
Yeah, I'm just going to squish it where it belongs. Now I'm going to use a number 30 Simply Simmons extra large brush. You don't have to have this brush. You just want a brush large enough so that you can easily paint the entire surface black. Oh no, I hope I don't need that brush.
Brush over the edge.
Brush overboard. So many brushes. Even on my travel brushes, my brushes are overboard. For you guys who've been asking, we are not in Ireland yet. We will be in Ireland very soon. Sooner than we think. I think it's going to be like, we think it's far away, and then all of a sudden we're packing in a mad frenzy. Knowing my family. All right. Just painting that all black. That's a nice way to go. Now listen, something you might not know is you can buy canvases already black. And sometimes they're cheaper than their white canvas counterparts because they tend to be put on clearance more often.
The interesting thing is what'll happen is there'll be a run of projects that will require black surfaces. So they buy a bunch of them, and then everybody does those, and then they don't keep doing them. So they go out of vogue, and then they go on sale.
Cheap canvas. Enjoy that.
And then they're like, oh wait, they're popular again, and they reorder a bunch.
Well, and pretty soon in our store, we're going to have a lot of Frederick's canvas, and so those will be tone canvases as well. And that will be nice for you as a consumer, because then you can be like, I want to get it already done blue or whatever color, and you'll be like, I love that. Now, I'm going to dry this before the next step. It's important you dry yours before the next step, but look at you. You've already accomplished step one. So you're painting. You can just give yourself a pat on the back and be like, I'm an artist now. I painted an entire canvas black, which in some museums is fine art. So let's blow dry this.
Now here you're going to see a painting in its natural habitat, where it's in its moist state. And as the air blows over it. Now notice that she's not using heat when drying the surface, because heat can affect it. But notice how as it turns its sheen from glossy to matte, that the surface is dry. Now this is important so that she won't pick up any black paint in the next section. Let's watch and see.
Ooh, Keandra asks, will this be uploaded so I can paint this later on? So the minute the live is finished, this is available for reviewing. It used to be that it took YouTube about an hour to sort of process the video, but now it seems to be almost magically available immediately after the stream, and it just stays up. I have videos from 10 years ago. Not saying they're good, but we did them 10 years ago. Okay. Now this is the stage where you might transfer the image on from a traceable if you don't want to freehand this out. I did try to make her a fairly simple design if you did. But if you're like, no, not even that, I'm just not into it and don't love it at all, that's available for you to download. If you've never used a traceable before, I have a video on how to do that. I have a Pinterest pin on how to do it. I have blogs on how to do it. So it is something I don't expect you to just know magically how to do. I'm going to sort of sketch her in a little bit in what is called chalk, but this is a tailor's chalk tool, and what's nice about it is it's just like chalkboard chalk, but it comes in this thin aspect in a nice little sort of pencil-y thing where you can make it be longer and shorter. I just like those. You can get them at Joann's. Don't let them overcharge you for them though, because you can also sharpen with a pencil sharpener regular chalkboard chalk. Now I'm going to come here, and I know I want some room for my head and my arms, right? Because, you know, she's got that nice pose, that fun pose, and so I'm going to come down here and give myself some room. And she's almost centered, but not totally centered. So let's make a little circle. It's more of an oval. That little oval. We want to make sure that we have a little room for neck, right? Because her head should definitively be attached to something. I'm going to add a little bun right here. And what's nice about that is when I get that bun in, I can kind of talk about things like the neck and jawline much easier. So I can thicken out the neck.
Now, if we can, Susie was asking, she's painting along with us. She's like, so right now I stop and blow dry this? Yes.
Yeah.
Go do that. That's like, and you could pause us.
Or you pause us.
Well, see, here's the thing. I suggest,
if you've never watched YouTube like this before on the live, you can stop the live stream, hang out in the chat. You don't miss the chat, and pause us, and it just goes at your pace.
Okay, now I'm going to give you a little bit of experience, because we tend to stop and meander and chat like this kind of intentionally.
Yeah.
Because people who are painting along do need to have a chance sometime to catch up or to do things. So you can probably stop, run over there, hair dry it, even if you had to run upstairs and hair dry it, wherever you have it downstairs in the closet, and hair dry it, and then come back, and we'll still be pretty much here. You'll be able to catch up.
Now, I kind of come across here and I anchor my shoulders here, and I'm going to put in a little bit of a ball to sort of show where that shoulder is. My elbows are going to be here and kind of a little bit here. So let's bring an arm up. And it's a little bit in like this. And then we're going to have another arm coming over, a slightly sort of different positioning. And maybe it will be a little bit higher. But you want the length from here to here on the arms to be similar. Whether you're doing a stylistic figure, whether you're doing a realistic figure, the actions, the axis of joints will always remain the same, right? Like human bodies are going to be 6 to 8 heads in length, right? You know, your shoulders are going to be pivoting on kind of like this rotating thing. Eyes are going to be in leveled out sockets. There's just certain things. So even as you're painting more fancifully, those things still remain the same. Now I'm going to bring a little bit of a bend off the back down. This will kind of be like the spine coming down. And I want that to be, you know, a couple of heads here, right? With the neck included, I want to be a couple of heads of width. I don't want it to be short up here. I don't want it to be so long down here. Though
you mean that actually you're using a head as a unit of measurement.
I use whatever this measurement is.
It's a head of measurement, like a hand
there, and then another there, approximately. Models tend to be drawn 8 heads high. That's how they exaggerate fashion illustration. Regular people are just drawn what they are. It's a fun thing. I'm going to bring a little bit of my back out here. That's nice. Coming off this joint, I'm going to put in a small little, kind of a little bit of an outgo for her breast, and then we're going to come down into the waist. Then you can very easily let yourself know where the dress is going to come off. Bringing these around here. Now remember, there's going to be taper in at the elbow, and then you definitely want to taper to the wrist. And you can see that little original line helps me keep it going there. And then the hands, they're not too bad. We're just doing a little bit of a simple hand shape. Just remember to leave yourself room for a whole hand. And what I mean by that is you want a little bit of length out from where the cuff is to where the knuckles are. They don't need to be perfect, but it's important to have at least some room for hands. And I'll refine this a little bit with paint, but now I know where that is. And what's nice about this is I can then refine my design, change my mind about anything that I want, improve the drawing in any way that I want. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to give it an eyeline now. If my eyes are right here, I'm going to pop my ear right there. That lets me bring a hairline. So even though she's very stylized, we have that. Okay, so whether you do the traceable or you sketched her on with me, this is step 2. And listen, if you haven't drawn in a minute, if it's been like years since maybe grade school, and you're like, oh, this is so hard, it's because you haven't asked your brain to do this in a second. It's not that you can't draw, it's that maybe today it's a little bit challenging. So it's okay to not draw when you paint. Drawing is a skill of art. It is not the only gateway into being creative or artistic. And using a traceable is something that they teach you in art school, as is projection or gridding or any of the methods of rendering and creating work. So none of that's cheating, even if somebody you know who does art really well tells you it is. It's just not factually true. It's not cheating. All right, let's get a new step in, and I think I need to heat my coffee. I'm sorry,
I just
babe.
did. I gave us a new step there.
Did you? I need to heat my coffee.
Oh wait, step 1 was.
This was 2. Step 1 was black, and then the chalk was 2. So this is 3.
Oh, sorry, I put step 2 up again because you said this is
because
step 2.
I was saying this was our second step. But I messed you up.
You messed me up.
I messed him up.
I'm easy
Let
to
it be
miss.
known in the record of marriage, I messed him up.
Well, I was following her lead. You didn't mess me up. I was just like, I was auto button
Let
pushing.
it be known on the record of marriage. It has happened. All right.
Somebody quick timestamp it.
Now I'm going to do an interesting thing here, and I'm going to do this because several people commented that they were having trouble getting vibrant colors with their paints. And I know sometimes that's because you guys are painting with student paints. And when you paint over a dark canvas with student paints, ooh, it can be really hard to get a vibrant set of colors. So we're going to do a little trick here. I'm going to take a brush. This is a number 4 Isabey Isacryl Filbert. Just means it's rounded. You could do a bright. You just want a small brush where you can paint around things. And I'm going to load a little bit of white, and I'm going to come around and brush out little short strokes. And it's almost a dry brush of white paint. And what this is going to do is make sure that when we put our bright colors on, if you don't have professional paint yet, and you're just like, I just grabbed this set of 48 Liquitex basic paints, right? And that you get the same result as me, or ish. Same-ish result as me. And this is really going to make a big difference in your outcome, guys. It's really funny when you don't know some of the ins and outs of a medium. You can end up thinking that you're not good, or you don't know how to mix color, or something that is just totally untrue. Irene is like, getting into AI art, man. I'll tell you what, I'm fine with AI art, but the panic that artists are having about it, yeah, I just can't, I'm just keeping my head down till it all works itself out. I'm going to do, on Lifebook this year, I'm going to do a course on how to do AI art ethically as an artist. Like, how do you use these tools ethically as an artist? And keep it original. Because I figure that's going to be the biggest, like, question out there. I'm not going to go much past the armpit. Because these are the brightest little areas that I have, right? And I'm going to come here and kind of go around here because I know I've got lots of bright areas around here. Because she's got a bit of outlining and stuff, you don't have to be too precious with her. I'm going to make sure it's that fairly light around here. So if you guys are interested in doing Lifebook, I'm sure the mod, somebody's got one of the affiliate links for me on that. If you want to do that, it should be kind of fun. I don't know if I'm going to teach it anywhere else. Like, I might teach it to patrons. Just because, again, it's not that I just don't want to be in the conversation. When people are upset online anymore, they're just too hard to talk to. You can't have a rational conversation anymore. All right. Just continuing on. See how we're just taking this white around here. That's another good reason to have the black be dry, because if I went over it with the white and it wasn't dry, I would just be getting gray. These, like, YouTube has videos explaining AI art. It does. It does. I like a lot of them. I don't like all of them. But I think there's some good ones out there. And also, it's important to remember, like, stuff like DaVinci and Midjourney are not the only programs out there. So when you hear artists talking about that their artwork has specifically been stolen to train an AI system, that may have actually happened. It didn't happen maybe with those programs, but there are other programs in the world that people use. And so sometimes that frustration comes from a real place. I just dipped my brush a little bit in water just because it was getting too dry out.
Yeah, you can take the AI program, the AI toolkit, and then train it on your own selection of images. Yeah. If you understand how to interface with it. Like, that's just through APIs and things like that. So, and there's lots of different ones out there. Yeah. So,
So, sometimes when you hear that frustration and you heard, oh, well, Midjourney didn't trade on copyrighted artwork. Yeah, that may be true, but that doesn't mean it's always true with every program everywhere.
It's not the only AI in town.
It's not the only AI in town. Right. So, and if you're wondering what we're talking about art that is imagined by an artificial intelligence or neural net that's housed in many, 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 many computers. Hopefully, eventually a quantum one. Huh?
It dreams for us.
It dreams for us. All right, I'm going to continue on. So we're just adding little white dots out here. Sometimes when we're doing a lot of the same thing over here at this channel, we will talk about current events. These are areas that I'm going to have a very bright glow. And, I just want to make sure that those colors are very bright for me. Doesn't need to be everywhere I'm going to have color. It's just going to be where I need to have those colors be brightest of all. You can see I'm just mimicking the energy and shape of the dynamics around her. Look at that. Look at how we did. Which brush is this? Asked Bella G. This is number 4 Isabay Isacryl. And some of you are saying, hey, this is the first time I've heard about this AI thing. Well, you're going to hear about it a bunch.
Yeah, it's an exploding thing.
It's an exploding thing, and it's an exponential speed thing. It's going to take out Google search pretty soon.
Integrated. It will be integrated.
Yeah, they're trying to get it in there, but it's going to be a ride, definitely, for all of us. It's one of those big transitions, as big as anything that we've ever seen. It's going to be interesting and problematic and all the things that the internet was.
The singularity, so to speak.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. Right now, I was talking to the chat GPT this morning, which is the AI that chats with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It taught me stuff this morning.
It did. It taught me stuff this morning. I was like, oh, you're so smart. It knows it.
I asked it a programming question that it answered.
Did you?
Yeah.
I asked it a comparative art history question that it answered.
That's crazy.
I also asked it how to use AI ethically in art, and it gave me a brilliant answer. So I was like, exactly what I was already doing. Just not for nothing. Just pat myself on the back. All right, I'm going to dry this, and we're going to come back and do another step.
All right. Yeah. So we've been enjoying talking and learning about the AI from the AI, which is pretty cool. And what I would say is that there's some really good videos out there that talk about the evolution of YouTube, of Google, and the internet as we know it, and how it's sort of broken up now. All the information on the internet isn't what it was a long time ago when Google was originally incarnated. So it's very hard to find a definition of an answer out there. So now the AI will be able to parse things more than just lists, so that when you go to Google and say, how do I do something, it will give you an answer rather than saying, here's where you can go look to get an answer. So that's what they're kind of working on. Anywho.
Let's make sure this is thoroughly dry.
Thoroughly dry.
Thoroughly dry. Thoroughly dry.
Y'all done?
Happy. Yeah, we're all done.
There you go. 4. Step 4.
Okay, so now we get to do some fun stuff. We're going to do some playful stuff. I'm going to continue using this number 4 Isacryl brush because, well, it's just fine. And I'm going to start with like maybe a little bit of my phthalo green and a bit of cad yellow. And I'm going to come here and add little brush strokes. Kind of coming around this outside area. Maybe put some in here. And you can see that definitely the white helps that stay very bright, doesn't it? And I'm painting like professional paint, so it's definitely going to help one way or another, but put a little bit there. Let's bring a little brush out here. Here we go. So a lot of people thought I was talking about aliens. That's going to get me some unsubs. People are, I don't talk about aliens, but I've noticed that when people think I talk about aliens, they react very strongly.
Oh, man. Tell you what. I've been
I'm
keeping
not
up.
talking about aliens. You
No,
don't got to unsub. We're just going to put little bits of green around.
we could talk about aliens.
We
There,
could.
but I tell you what, the whole thing, learning about time, the new understandings of physics and time and gravity are blowing me away.
It's going to just be crazy. Now I'm going to rinse that color out. And I'm going to go ahead and get into, maybe let's do some purple. Let's take a little bit of our dioxazine purple, and I might grab my Quin magenta. Just kind of make that a better purple. Little white there. Oh, that's a nice purple, isn't it? Let's bring a downward streak. Maybe a little mark across. Little downward streak. I like painting in paint actually very much, especially when I'm painting very abstractly, because there's this sort of wonderful immediacy to it. It's very different than doing other types of art digitally. Bring a little mark there. So I've got some purple in these outer areas. That's pretty playful and festive. I let it kind of mix into the green. That's okay. That makes some nice effects, doesn't it? I like that. I'm going to rinse out. You know, and I've got my number 4 here. I'm going to continue on. Let's get some blue. And I think I could actually make this really good. I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine and phthalo blue together in a smidge of white. And add these little colors a bit here and there, right over the white spots. That's pretty fun. Just making sure this is quite colorful. I'm going to put a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to rinse out. I'm liking that. Now I'm going to take my ultramarine, no, my phthalo blue and my phthalo green together. And I'm going to make and add even a smidge of yellow into it. I want a really vibrant color. Look at that vibrant turquoise. Maybe I'll put that there. We'll put some of this vibrant turquoise around. I'm going over some areas where I'm looking and I'm like, oh, I maybe want some turquoise there. Okay, we're just going over that. Now, we're going to call this a step and we're going to dry it because we're going to come back with some yellows and oranges to work in here. And if we work those in now and they get into the green, those colors are going to dull and it won't have the bright vibrancy that we're going to want. So let's dry this and come back and do another step.
Oh yeah, I really like how this super gets poppy with the whites behind it because it allows the colors to really shine through. And like she said, if you're using like a student paint, this is even more important because it will allow the color to be really, really bright if you get that white underneath it. But yeah, like she says, make sure you thoroughly dry, go through all that stuff. Check our website, theartsherpa.com. Cool stuff happening there. We have our store that's going up there. There's a patronage that's up there, which is a pretty cool club. We have our calendar, what's up there. All sorts of cool things.
Okay.
Now you need a new step, eh?
I do.
There.
Okay, so I'm going to grab a little bit of my cad red and my cad yellow together, and we're going to make kind of a yellow orange. Let's come in here and let's put some strong versions of that out there. I'm going to go really bright, maybe above the head here. I'm just letting it blend on the canvas, and I'll paint into where I know I'm going to have her arms, because I know I'm going to paint those white in a second, and that will be fine. Notice I'm taking, you know, this out kind of in a radial. That's going to give it a feeling of maybe being a light. Adding a little bit more yellow into it to be orange. You can come and put some of these colors around. Layer over. I really want it to be brightest in my center here. So more yellow here. I can take a little bit of my Cad Red and my Quin Magenta. Sort of focus some of that there. Come back with some yellow. I may have to paint my hand back, but that's okay. Just painting it loosely all around. I could do this with a palette knife as well if I wanted to. Be a lot of fun. Maybe a little more magenta. Isn't that fun? Just really enjoying this going out. I'm going to add kind of little spots of red here, taking Quin Magenta and red together. Maybe little bits of that. Little Quin Magenta and Cad Red, and give ourselves some outer highlights, right? Okay, so let's dry that. Dry that thoroughly, and we'll come back and finish it up.
Yeah, see how those really just pop with when you get that in there, and then she'll come back in over the top of them and even add a little more highlight, I think. I say that. I don't know that she will, but she probably will, because I've watched her paint a lot of things, and that generally includes that. So we'll see what happens here next. But I really like this. It's turning out to be very nice.
Now, what I don't want is this to be wet, so I'll, I'm gonna check it, and I want it to be nice and tacky. So, tacky, but not tacky, so that the paint is ready to be put down. I'm gonna get back into my purple. I think a little bit of my Quin there and some white. I'm going to add that little bit there. That's kind of a nice little central area. All right. I'm going to also kind of come in with a little bit of my yellow and white. Adding little marks of yellow and white, and see how it layers on top of what we have here.
Yeah.
I like that quite a lot. That's getting some vibrancy going. It's okay to come back maybe with a little bit of green again because we want to layer. See how the layering creates some important depth in perception? The way we layer colors on top of each other pushes other colors back into the canvas. All right, so I like having a little bit of that there. That's very enjoyable to me. Now I'm going to take this turquoise that I made from earlier, right, and had a little bit of turquoise over here, which was the phthalo blue and phthalo green and a little bit of yellow. Now my blue white is going to be almost white. That's how I'm going to light those lights in the center of that. See how we're lighting them up?
Yeah, I was waiting for those.
I can even put some here now that, we're a little more layered and dry. Can layer some of those lights even up into this space so that they're everywhere. Diane's saying that she likes to watch before she paints, which I totally get because sometimes that's a really helpful way of doing it. I'm going to put out a little more yellow paint. And what that's going to do is going to let me put some orange centers in the red lights before I put, other, like, I've got some bright orangey areas that I've got to create in here a few places. It's not my last color touch on these zones, but I just want to create that sense of glow. Don't want to take out my red there, so I'm going to fix that a bit. Really, really rinse out. Okay, I'm going to come into my white even. Might hit it with just a titch of yellow. And add some white bright spots around. Creating those little yellow centers. I mean, the little white yellow center in the center.
It's the glowy part.
It's the glowy part. Getting those little glows going. A-glowing. So many glows a-glowing. Just a little bit of white and yellow there. Just picking it up. And we're just putting those little, they're like little bulbs coming out. I'm also going to take a little bit of my Quinn and Cad Red and maybe a smidge of my titanium white. And tap in just some little strokes that are like maybe some balancing peaks of bulbs in red. I think that that can be nice. See that? So I'm never done kind of looking for that balance of it. Add a little yellow there. You're kind of getting the sense of how the lights are created at this point. Grab just yellow. And those get kind of put in there. Even around her, we can put some more lights sparkling in. I just layer it out until I'm happy with it, and then as soon as it has like the look of just a joyful, glowing explosion of cheering. Diana's like, are the colors representing Christmas lights? They do a bit represent Christmas lights. They also represent the flashes after a show and that sort of...
Party lights?
Well, you know how like, yeah, party lights, the way like when someone does a celebration, the flashes are going. It's like kind of all of that, like trying to get that energy of all of that into the piece, which I really enjoyed. Now I'm going to dry this thoroughly and we're going to paint her in.
All right. Oh, this turned out, see, I really like this. You can kind of see how pop those lights are. They turned out so good. So yeah, this could, this could be Christmas if you don't celebrate Christmas. These could be explosion of fireworks or party lights. If you don't celebrate fireworks, these could be electrical lights. And if you don't celebrate electricity, I don't know what to say.
Yay!
Yay!
Yay! I'm going to get a round brush.
You need a new step, don't you?
I need a new step. My chair rolled for it. Okay, we ready? I'm going to take a number 4 Simply Simmons round. It's a synthetic brush. It's got a point I can kind of like work out here. And I'm going to paint in her hands and her face. And I'm going to use a little bit of my yellow ochre and a bit of burnt sienna. And then some white. All right, I'm going to get into that like little basic light skin tone there. And then when I have it where I like it, I can grab some pink and kind of rose it up. Make sure that I come in and paint my hands back in, hopefully well. And sometimes I will tilt my canvas up a bit just so I can see things better. And it takes, I'm going to take a couple of coats to really get the skin tone where I want it. Painting in the area of the face very carefully. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my black and burnt sienna together. And sometimes I will, at this stage, even fill out the hair some. Make the bun bigger, everything bigger in that way. And you'll notice there's a bit of an arc there at the back that I've got going for that. Again, just the beginnings. I'm going to take a little bit of white and my different neutral colors kind of at first, like my brown. I might need a little get of water in here just to make sure it flows okay. And you can also get some ultramarine blue into it to gray it out. This is layer 1. So right now we're just lightening and getting that first layer of her in. Let's make sure that we keep that taper on the wrist. Now, because we're going to be lining her and we've got a couple layers, it is more forgiving than you might be feeling in your early stages. So be super calm with yourself because there's a whole journey here to go. And you know how they have that saying, everything's okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end? It's kind of true in painting. I don't know if it's true in life, but it is sort of true in painting.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times what happens is there is a weird, awkward stage in paintings before they grow all the way up. I take a little bit of my...
Before they become big paintings and go off to hang in a house of their own?
Yes, before they become big paintings and go off to hang in a house of their own, I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine blue and my burnt sienna, making kind of these different beigey grays.
I think all all my paintings fail to launch and end up hanging out in the garage.
So true. And I'm bringing this down. When I come over on this side, I'm going to arc the stroke towards the left. And when I come over on the right side, I will arc the stroke towards the right. And I press a little harder at the beginning of the stroke and release as I come down, and that's how I get that tapered effect. When I approach the middle, everything sort of straightens out. There we go. This isn't bad, guys.
No.
Okay. Now, let's dry everything. You're probably like, oh my gosh, this is the dry everything woman. It does help when you're layering and building up layers of paint, though, to have what's underneath dry. It really does.
This is the white layer really makes it come, and just like the lights, it makes these next layers just go better and better and better. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. I see everyone here in the chat. It's so nice to see everyone. So lovely to have all the peoples chatting. More watercolors coming soon, yes. Not sure if it's going to happen until January or not. I'm not sure. I will ask about more watercolors and see how that goes. Right now we're doing all sorts of stuff, getting ready for Acrylic April. Just getting ready for Acrylic April. You ready for a step?
Yes.
Stepping.
Getting ready for Acrylic April is a little challenging because we have to get ready earlier and earlier every time. I'm going to bring out a little bit more of my skin tone, but this time I'm going to use a little more burnt sienna and yellow ochre. Right? Maybe even pull a little cad red into it to redden it up. Get out of that pink range. And come here. I'm using a #1 monogram liner, and I'm doing that because I want some control over my lines here. I want to really be able to control what I've got going on. Nice little arc up for the ear. Now towards, let's get the pink over here. So we need a light skin tone and a shaded skin tone. Or yellow ochre into that. So that's the quinacridone magenta and the titanium white and the yellow ochre. And then over here is the burnt sienna yellow ochre, a little white and cad red. Come here and kind of paint this a little bit lighter. And come on the front of the face. I think at the top of the ear. It's nice. Rinse out, and then I'll get back into my darker skin tone. Because I have them both here, I can mix little halftones, and I can make that work a little bit better. So right here, I want this little neckline to go a little bit above the chin, she's stylized, but it still helps in setting the face and everything. So that's why I pay attention to that so closely. Now I'm going to come over here to the hands, and I'm going to kind of carefully paint the hands again. If I need a little more water, I can do that. I'm using the darker. Just capturing that. Curving here, making sure I've got a long enough thumb to see the thumb. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to create some contrast around the hand now that we have it, right? So I can come in here and say, take a little bit of my burnt sienna and phthalo green. And painting little puzzle pieces around it. Isn't that crazy how you can do? And how I'll make that blend is I will like create an intentional space here where this feels like it makes sense for what we have going on. I feel like for this hand, I can just exaggerate the bright reds around here. Kind of work and hide in that yellow. So at this point, things have sort of, you know, dried, and I can go into my very light hand mix, my light skin mix, which again was the yellow ochre, just a titch of that burnt sienna, the quinacridone magenta, and white, but a lot more white. I'm going to load up here, and on the inside of the hands, I'm going to highlight a little white inside on the hands. Now, I'm going to predict, because I've been doing this a minute, that hands are where everybody gets frustrated. Because hands are where everybody always gets frustrated. And I just want you to know that you're not doing it as wrong as you guys sometimes think. Right? You guys always think your hands are wrong, but you're not actually wrong at all. Okay, let's call that. I actually might want to get a little halftone here with a little more yellow ochre in there, and kind of brush in a little bit more blend here. That's kind of nice, isn't it? Just looks really good. Let's dry this, and we'll come back and do the next step.
You go ahead and dry it. Yeah, that won't take too much. You just want to make sure that as you're laying on these steps, layering, it is important for them to be dry. Otherwise, they blend and don't layer, which is kind of the technique that we're teaching here. It's not that blending isn't good. You can do that too. It's just a different way of getting to the same end. Like I said, there's oftentimes not a right way or a wrong way. But Cinnamon will have, the Art Sherpa here, my wife Cinnamon, will have an idea about how to teach you a concept from beginning to end, and so she may be using a process to get you there. So
For what?
just like I was saying, there's so many ways of doing a thing,
Oh, there's so many ways.
and then like a lot of times you'll be doing away because you have a thought that you're working on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's so it's not that other ways aren't valid too.
All the ways are valid.
You need a step now.
I do. All the ways are valid.
9.
Okay. Oh, and I have a ton of ballerina paintings and from one hoot on. So there, if you like ballet and all different styles and all different kinds of things, this is a topic I like. I'm going to take my filbert again. This is the number 4 acrylic filbert, and I'm going to make my orange using my cad red and my cad yellow. And I'm going to come from the bottom and I'm going to brush up a little bit of this color. Kind of playfully. Maybe a little bit of red there. I know I'm coming back with white, but I still want to think about how things will layer out. And this is a bit about the way lights reflect on white fabric, so that's why that's important. I'm going to come here and get a little bit of my burnt sienna and a smidge of ultramarine blue because I don't want it to stop being brown entirely. It's kind of like going to become, see, sort of this putty color.
Putty color.
It's like a putty color. And then a little bit coming out from the dress. We're going to come back with some highlights, but this is a very nice way to talk about, the fabric maybe a little more in shade. That's looking good. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white and just tone it, gosh, just a titch, maybe even a little ultramarine blue there, with this purple. So, it is a white, but it's not a white white. And it's okay if we dry brush a little bit. And it's also okay because we're going to come back and blackline a little, like lightly. It's okay to have a little bit of that sort of black outlining there. So this isn't purple per se, it's just a white with a little bit of a purple tint to it. Brushing that around there very loosely. One of the nice things about having this be a little bit of blue, having this be a little bit abstracted, is that it does take a lot of the pressure off of us to worry about the confines of realism. Notice I'm just going over that, brightening that white now. I might grab a little purple and a little blue here. And a little bit more white into it. I'm going to layer in a little stronger white here. Can even dry brush, see, like a little bit of white over it. Grab a little bit of yellow and loosely brush that in. Okay. This is wonderful. We're doing great. Guess what we got to do again, guys? Dry her. Yeah, here we are again, drying. Let's take a breath, man. This is just a nice break from the world at the moment, isn't it? I just like my painting breaks so much. So much I like them.
This is coming together so quickly. We're gonna be here just so little more time together. So thank you guys for coming and joining us. We really appreciate it. We love doing all this stuff. Love being able to create all the curriculum. If you want to find out where to get a mini book, you can go out to our website, click on the mini book button, wherever it may be located, then just type in the topic you're looking for and you'll find the books. Now, for the step, you're on the 10th step? Is that right?
I think I am.
Look at that.
So I'm going to get back to my number 4 round, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my brown, just my brown, and I'm going to come here, and I'm going to very carefully brush up just a little bit of a sort of brown highlight there, and then on the bun, a bit of one, and then maybe just lightly at the back. Just, that's it, right? Because we're just starting the highlight of the hair, and she's dark hair, and so that's all we really going to need for that. I'm going to come here and take a, nope, not my ultramarine blue. No. My phthalo blue and a little phthalo green. I'm going to make my turquoise again. Let's get a little yellow involved to make it radioactive. Let's come here and dry brush just a little bit on the inside there. Cross. A little bit there. See, I kind of like was a little bit like a little pen there. That's sort of fun. A little bit there. I like that pop of turquoise on her. Maybe even a little more. Gosh, a little more into the yellow, really? Maybe, yeah. So radioactive. Come up the arm here. Down the arm. Inside of the arm, maybe. A bit there. I like that quite a lot. Rinse out thoroughly. I'm going to take a little of my quin to my purple. White into it. Maybe a little ultramarine to cool it. When you tell your purple to cool it. Some playful little low purple. Maybe a little bit of a shadow there at her back from the purple.
Thank you, Leanne, for the...
Thank you, Leanne. Oh my goodness, it's a Leanne party. Thank you, Leanne. I really appreciate it.
And thanks for all the super chat and support for our patrons and everyone who helps us. We really, really appreciate it.
I'm putting a little black on my brush, and I'm going to come here and kind of exaggerate a little bit of the waistband. Might switch to my number 1 if the bigger brushes give me grief. If it gives you grief, change it. just to create a little bit of that standout drama. Now, where this becomes a problem is if you get a real thick or overly strong line on the fine lining of the dancer, it can take over your whole piece, which you don't really want.
Right.
So be light. See, that gives me a chance to get those hands under control in any way I want to.
I guess if you were just not at all having the hands, you could just give her a bouquet of flowers.
You could just give her a bouquet of flowers.
She's holding flowers. That's just,
She's
not doing the finger
holding
thing.
flowers. That's what she do now. Yeah, it's totally fine. Again, I'm here to help you kind of with techniques and the process, but how you guys choose to do it, it really is up to you.
You could give her mittens and say she's cold outside.
All right, let's call this a step. Give her a dry, and we're going to put the last touches on.
All right. So just a little dry. We're almost there. Last touches. You can just see there's just a few more hair highlights for her hair and some things here and there. Man, been nice to see you guys. Been nice hanging out and chatting while we're doing this. Is the new store open? Check back tomorrow and ask that question again. We are super close. I can't promise that it will be open tomorrow, but tomorrow might be the day that it's open.
Every day's might the day it's open.
It's like Schrodinger's store. You could be open or it could be closed, but you have to go to the site to find out.
Have to go to the site to find out. All right, let's do some little touch-ups and kind of give zhuzh where zhuzh is needed. I'm going to make my very light finger color again, and I'm going to make sure that the inside of my hands here, because mine got a little green, so I just want to fix that a bit. That got a little out of hand. Maybe grab a little cad red in there. A Saint Claus skin color. This is where you can kind of touch up elements of what you have. I like that very much. I'm going to come in and get just a little white on just the toe of the brush. And make some little fine line hair reflections. Just a few of them on the bun so we can see the light. I don't need that one there. I can also come in and pop the dress with a little bit of white. Dry brushing over. See how we're just making it a little whiter? It's a dry brush. Just using that number 4 filbert because it gives me nice control. I don't want to paint out all my aqua because I liked my aqua. Just adding little details, finishing touches. You guys are actually pretty good at staying on your paintings and getting those finishing touches. Mm-hmm. I'm usually pretty oh, they got it. Dry brushing goes a long way because it allows what's underneath to show through and give those sort of layers of color, but it still gives you the value or hue that you're looking for. Look at that. All right. So again, where I suspect that you will struggle is in your claw hands. But remember, they're just claw hands. You don't got to have fingers.
Yeah.
You just want to have enough distance from the wrist to the knuckle, from the wrist to the beginning of the thumb. And just remember the thumb is going to be a little shorter than the forefingers. And you can even look at your own claw hands. If you're like, claw hands, you can be like, oh yeah, I just need a little more length. And it's okay to make adjustments. And that's one of the wonderful things to think about is that, you know, oh, I grabbed some white here. I think I just saw something that could be really wonderful. Just adding a little pop there. See? Ooh. Sometimes I'll be like, I see you.
It popped.
And it's like, you don't see me. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I see you. And it's like, but I was hiding. And I'm like, yeah, but I still see you. There we go. That's our pop. Let's give her a signature. I signed the digital in red, but I think I'm going to sign in the blue.
The blue.
My turquoise. Because you can see it, but it won't overwhelm the whole painting.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like it's there, but it's not so there that that's all you see. Oh my goodness. So I hope if you are doing this for a dancer friend of yours, it comes out beautifully. Remember the traceable is there, so you don't have to be, you know, organic or natural at that. And you can always reset a traceable, like you can put it back or use it again to get a specific area where you're like maybe struggling. We have a really fun chickadee and snow painting coming up that you guys are going to love on Thursday at 1. And then Saturday at 1, we have an amazing campfire winter scene. I try to balance out during the holidays doing non-holiday, just winter pieces and holiday pieces, so you can really get whatever it is you need out of your painting journey in that exact moment. Also check up, I put 3 new ones up, maybe it was four new ones up coming up that are gonna blow your mind. Be so excited. We've got another Girl in the Rain coming. We've got a snowflake coming. We've got so much fun stuff that you guys are gonna really love doing. So check out the paintings that are coming up and hit that reminder. Be like, yes, 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 yes buttons, because you don't want to miss it. You're gonna love it. Got you all the way up through like the 22nd. Or the 20th, like that week before, that Tuesday before Christmas. I've got you, so you can paint your calm with me through this whole holiday season. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. And here's some really important instructions. I want you to be good to yourself, and I'd love you guys to be good to each other. And I will see you at an easel really soon. Bye bye.